Guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. On this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple dress with patch. So I'm going to be using these two fabrics for this tutorial. I would use this for the dress and this other one for the patch. So I folded my fabric into two, as always, using the largest part of my body. On the shoulder line, I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement, and I'm going to mark the armhole measurement, which is 9 inches, and I'm also going to mark the shoulder measurement on the armhole side. So I'm going to connect those 2 points into a straight line like so. Next, I'm going to mark the neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 3 inches. This totally depends on you. You can use whatever measurements you want on the neck. And on the armhole line, I'm going to come down by 1/2 inch for the shoulder slope, and I'm going to connect this to meet the neck measurements. Alright, so I'm just going to carve out the armhole. So I'm going to mark from the shoulder to the waistline, which is 16 inches. I'm also going to mark from the waistline to the hip line, which is 8 inches downwards. So on the bust line, I'm going to mark the bust measurement divided by 4. The bust I'm working with is 40 inches divided by 4 is 10 inches. So I'm going to mark that and mark extra 3 inches for allowance and 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, on the waistline, I'm going to mark 1/4 of the waist measurement, which is 8.25. Then I'm going to mark 3 inches extra, and then I would mark 1/2 inch for seam allowance. On the hip line, I'm going to mark 1/4 of the hip measurement. The hip measurement I'm working with is 42 inches. Divided by 4 is 10.5. So I marked that and added my ease allowance and also the seam allowance. So after that is done, I'm going to connect the hip line to the waistline, and from the waistline to the bust line. So I'm going to connect the hip line down to the full length of this dress, because this dress is a straight one. So I'll just connect the hip line down to the full length, and I'm going to cut it out. Notice that I didn't cut out the neckline because I'm going to use this to cut out the back. So after cutting, this is what I have. So I'm going to outline this on the back panel, and I'm going to use it to cut out the back. So here I have the front and the back panels. So what I want to do next is to mark out the back. Now I'm going to use the same neck width of 3 inches that I used for the front, and I'm using a neck depth of 1 inch for the back. So I'm just going to connect the 2 points like this, and then I'm going to cut it out. So now I'm setting this aside, and I'm going to cut out the neck for the front. So there's going to be a slit in front of this dress, so I'm going down by 3 inches. Okay, that's the least you can go. You can go 4 inches, you can go 3.5. So I'm going to cut that out. I show you the neckline for the front. I want us to quickly go over the sleeve. So I'm marking a sleeve length of 7 inches, and I'm adding 1 inch as extra. So I'm going to mark from the shoulder to the calf's height, which is 3.5 inches. So I mark the armhole round on that point, and then I'm just going to connect this down to that armhole round measurement, and then I'm going to add ease allowance and seam allowance together. On the sleeve opening, I'm going to mark the sleeve circumference divided by 2. The sleeve circumference I'm working with is 13 inches, divided by 2 is 6.5. So I marked that and I added 1 inch for ease because this is not supposed to be tight, and then I added 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'm just going to connect the points that I just made together like this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out. After cutting, this is what I have. So I'm going to use this to cut out the second sleeve. So now I have the 2 sleeves ready. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be attaching this, using this fabric to attach to the sleeve. So I'm measuring what I have on the sleeve. What I have is 17 inches. So I'm also going to mark that 17 inches on my other fabric which I'm using for the sleeve opening. So for the sleeve opening, I want it to be 1.5 inches. So I am marking 2 inches like this. So by the time I fold it, I would have 2 inches, and I'm going to use half an inch to join it to the main sleeve. So I'm just going to cut this out now. So this is what I have, and I'm going to use this to cut the second one. So this is how I'm going to attach it to the sleeve, stitch and flip. So this is how it's going to be. So I'm going to cut the second part now. So as you can see here, we have 2 of this. So next I'm going to show you what I did for the front patch. So how I achieved this with my chalk. So what I did was to measure from the shoulder on the armhole side 6 inches downwards, and I measured that also on the both sides. I marked that and I curved it into a V to meet the center of the dress like this. Okay, so in between the 2 lines I have 3 inches because the patch I want to use is, I want a patch of 3 inches. So in between the 2 lines I have 3 inches. So from that 6 inches that I marked, I just went down by 3 inches and I connected the curve. Okay, so you are going to make sure that your V aligns with the slits you made on the center of your neckline. So this is what I'm using for this patch. So this I'm going to place on the lines that I made like this. I'm going to fold it in and place on it like this. Can you see how beautiful it's looking already? So this is how it's going to be. So like I said, the space between the 2 lines is 3 inches, but this thing I cut out is 4 inches because I'm going to fold half an inch on each side, then I would get 3 inches. So for the length of this, I want is 17 inches. What I cut out is 17 inches, but on the fabric I have 15 inches because I would need excess to join the 2 panels together like this to form the V. I hope that is clear enough. So for this part 2, this patch, I'm going to cut out an interfacing, popularly known as gum stay. So I cut out 2 pieces of gum stay, which is exactly the same size with the main fabric. So I'm going to place it on it like this and iron it. So now I'm just showing you how to cut the pocket. I folded my fabric into 2. You can fold yours into 4 if you want to cut the 4 parts of your pocket together. But here I folded into 2, placed my hand inside and traced it off. So I'm just going to cut it out. It's very easy, you already know this by now. So these are the 2 pieces of pocket I have. I'm going to use this to cut out 2 more. That is 4. 2 on each side of the dress. So this is the neckline of the dress. I cut out a piece and I used to turn the neck inside out. So after stitching, this is what I have. From the inside, this is what I have. You can see the piece I cut to turn the neckline. So it's very beautiful. You see the opening we made for the neckline. I said I was going to show you the 3 inches we went down by. So here is the pocket. I attached it and I did a top stitch. Okay, I did the same on the other side. So for the back panel, I also cut out a piece and I turned out the neckline. From the inside, this is what I have. I also turned out the pocket. So this is the patch. I'm going to put the 2 sides together and I'm going to stitch like this in form of a V, like a slant like this to form the V. Like I said, I would be ironing my fabric in with 1/2 inch. I hope you can see it there. So after stitching the 2 parts together, this is what I have. I'm going to cut out the excess inside. Like I told you, it has excess because I measured 17 but I had 15. So here I am just pinning the patch on the chalk marking I placed on the front panel. So I just pinned my fabric into that chalk marking. You have to pin it so that when you take it to the sewing machine, it's easy for you to work on. So after pinning, I'm going to take to the sewing machine and make a stitch down to that point, and then I'm going to also stitch down to the armhole side. I'll do the same on the other part. Stitch like this and stitch like this. You're going to make sure your stitch is straight. Okay, so for the sleeve, what I did was to fold the other fabric which I'm using to attach. I'm going to fold it and put it right sides facing. Okay, so I stitched on it like this and I'm going to flip it. So I did the same for the 2 sleeves and I'm going to show you what it looks like after that. So after sewing the sleeve, this is what I have. As you can see, it is very beautiful. So I closed the sides. Alright, and after attaching the patch to the front panel, this is what I have. Okay, as you can see, you have to make sure that the opening you made on the center of the neckline aligns with the V on the patch. So I'm going to place the back panel on the front panel. I'm going to make sure that the armholes align, and I'm going to stitch on the shoulder, and I'm also going to close the side seams. When I get to the pocket area, I'm going to stitch around the pocket like this and down to the full length on the 2 sides. And I am going to hem the dress. After that, I am going to attach the sleeves. Alright, and after that I'm going to show you the finished look. So guys, are you ready for the unveiling of this beautiful, gorgeous dress? As you can see, it is very, very beautiful. I enjoyed making this project. Sorry guys, I can't put it on because it's not mine, it's for a client. So I'm going to share the picture on my community page when she actually wears it and sends me a picture. So as you can see, this is very, very beautiful. It's very beautiful. You can see the patch. I can't wait for my client to receive this. So it's very easy, like I said. As you can see, everything looks neat from the neckline to the patch, alright, and to the sleeves. It's perfect and very beautiful. I hope you've given this video a thumbs up already. So this is the pockets, very beautiful. Okay, so this is the finished look, and I'm so grateful for your support. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for your consistent support. I love you and I really appreciate. Until I see you in my next video, bye.